You think being a Kumiho sounds beautiful, right? A nine-tailed fox spirit under the moonlight. A creature so enchanting that legends say humans lose their minds just by looking into her eyes. But beauty is just a mask. The truth is something far more cruel. Imagine waking up every day trapped inside a body that isn't truly yours, hearing your heart whisper one thing, while your hunger screams another. Imagine being feared by humans, rejected by spirits, and hunted by anything that wants a piece of your power. This isn't a fairy tale. It's a nightmare painted as poetry. So tonight, we're stepping into the shadow behind the legend. The part they don't tell in mythology books. The part where beauty is a weapon, hunger is a prison, and every heartbeat pulls you closer to the monster never wanted to be. Because this is what it truly means to live as a Kumiho. Forget everything romantic you've seen in dramas. The original Kumiho wasn't a tragic beauty longing for love. She was a warning, a nightmare crawling out of ancient Korean folklore. Long before she was a nine-tailed fox, she was a soul twisted by a curse, a creature trapped between worlds, not human enough to be loved, not animal enough to be free, and not spirit enough to rest. The legend says a fox becomes a Kumiho after 1,000 years of absorbing moonlight, but they never mention the price. Every century strips a piece of your humanity away. Your voice becomes sweeter, your skin more flawless, your illusions more perfect. But your hunger, your unbearable hunger, grows into something violent, instinctive, impossible to silence. Here's the truth no legend likes to spell out. The Kumiho's body is a battlefield, a constant war between the human she once was and the predator she's forced to be. The first thing she feels is the hunger, not the polite kind, not the midnight snack kind. This hunger is an agony that starts in the bones, climbs into the nerves, and ends in the mind like a scream that never stops. It isn't just physical, it's spiritual decay. Every moment she resists makes her soul crack a little more. Then comes the transformation. The nine tails everyone loves to romanticize. People see elegance. What they don't see is the pain. Bones shifting like grinding stones, skin stretching, organs rearranging to house something that should not exist. Each tail isn't a symbol of majesty. It's a reminder of how far she's drifted from humanity. A countdown of how much she's already lost. And the illusions people think they're gifts. Beautiful tricks of seduction and deception. But illusions are simply survival instincts twisted into art. A Kumiho doesn't create illusions because she wants to. She creates them because, without them, humans would run, hunters would strike, and the beast inside her would take control. The illusions are a leash, a thin, trembling thread that keeps her from becoming the monster she fears the most. Her beauty keeps people close. Her illusions keep them calm. Her hunger keeps her cursed. That's the biology of a creature trapped inside a body designed to manipulate, seduce, and consume, while desperately trying not to fall apart. You start craving human essence, not out of malice, but because your soul is disintegrating. The only thing keeping you from dissolving into a mindless beast is the very thing that destroys everything you touch. You become beautiful so that no one sees your suffering. You become powerful so no one notices your breaking. You become mythical so the world forgets you were ever someone. This is the birth of the Kumiho, a tragedy carved into a monster. If you think being a Kumiho turns you into the apex predator, you're wrong. Being a Kumiho turns you into the most hunted creature in Korea's entire mythological ecosystem. Humans fear what they don't understand, and they understand absolutely nothing about a fox spirit that can steal your heart with a smile and your liver right after. So they hunt her. Villagers with pitchforks, soldiers with blades, kings with entire battalions. Because to them, a Kumiho is not a tragic being. She's a walking disaster warning. But they're not the real threat. The real threat comes from those who know exactly what she is. Zama's trained since childhood to fight spirits. People who can smell her illusions, who can see through her disguises, who know her weaknesses, and don't hesitate to use them. Then there are the Madang, the spiritual mediums, who can trap a Kumiho inside sacred boundaries, tear her from her illusions, and expose her monstrous form like ripping off a mask. But the worst enemies aren't human at all. They are spiritual predators. Creatures older, hungrier, and more ruthless. Mountain spirits, tiger deities, and fox spirits who resent her cursed existence. Where humans see a monster, these beings see competition. A Kumiho's life is a constant balancing act. Too human to belong among beasts, too monstrous to walk among people. She doesn't hunt because she wants to. She hunts because if she stops, something stronger, older, or angrier will hunt her. Her power doesn't put her at the top of the food chain. It puts her right in the middle, surrounded, watched, hunted from all sides. And the most terrifying part, every time she defends herself, every time she feeds, every time she uses her powers to survive, she slides one step further away from the humanity she's desperately trying to keep. Immortality isn't a gift for the Kumiho. It's a slow psychological decay stretched across centuries. Imagine living long enough to watch cities rise and fall, yet never being able to stand in a marketplace without someone sensing the wrongness in your aura. Imagine craving affection more than anything, but knowing that anyone who gets close either dies, flees, or discovers what you truly are. The Kumiho's biggest torment isn't hunger. It's loneliness. Not the simple loneliness of an empty room, but the cosmic kind where you can be surrounded by people and still feel like a ghost walking among worlds that don't want you. Every human interaction becomes a battlefield. Do they like me? Or are they just prey? Do I feel affection? Or is my body tricking me because it wants a heart? Am I controlling the hunger? Or is the hunger controlling me? This confusion corrodes her mind. And then comes the guilt. Every stolen life, every heart consumed, every face she mimicked to survive, gets burned into her memory with perfect clarity. 1,000 years of mistakes, 1,000 years of regrets, 1,000 years of blood she never wanted to shed, but had to. The human side remembers, the fox side doesn't care, and those two halves fight every single day, like predators trapped in the same cage. Some Kumihos lose the fight completely. They stop trying to be human. Their voice becomes cold. Their eyes lose that last spark of empathy. Their illusions stop mimicking warmth and start mimicking whatever gets the kill faster. That is the true curse. Not the hunger, not the transformations, but the slow erosion of the self, until one day she wakes up and doesn't remember the face she had as a human, doesn't remember her own name, doesn't remember who she was before the curse hollowed her out. The body lives forever. The identity, not so much. You would think that being an immortal fox spirit capable of shape-shifting makes daily life easy. Wrong. It makes daily life a 24/7 administrative nightmare. Let's start with the disguises. Yes, a Kumiho can mimic a human perfectly, but it's not as simple as snapping her fingers. Every transformation burns energy. Every illusion demands concentration. And holding a form too long feels like wearing a mask that's slowly tightening around her skull. If she gets tired, distracted, or emotional, the tail flickers into view. The eyes glow yellow. The voice one slip, and her entire identity collapses. Imagine being terrified of sneezing, because it might reveal that you're a nine-tailed monster. Now add modern society to this disaster. Back when villages were small and nobody questioned your existence, a Kumiho could blend in, vanish, reinvent herself every few decades. But today, there are cameras everywhere, biometric scans, face recognition, digital footprints, databases that store everything about everyone. A Kumiho's worst enemy is not a hunter anymore. It's the internet. She has to constantly erase traces, delete identities, forge documents, move from place to place before someone notices that she hasn't aged a single day in 50 years. And jobs, forget it. She can't stay in one workplace long, can't form friendships. You can't explain why she shows up looking perfect after surviving things that should have hospitalized any human. And the hunger. You think she can just walk into a hospital and take what she needs? No. Security is too tight. Technology too advanced. One mistake and the entire world learns that monsters are real. So she hunts at night, carefully, invisibly, avoiding cameras, avoiding witnesses, choosing isolated locations like a criminal mastermind, planning a heist. Not because she wants to harm anyone, but because the world has evolved faster than her curse. Even mundane things become complicated. Moving houses without letting anyone see the tails, sneaking away during a full moon because her aura gets unstable, throwing away clothes before someone notices claw marks which shouldn't exist, avoiding hospitals, doctors, dentists, anyone who might examine her too closely. Her life isn't a magical adventure. It's constant damage control. Every day a new lie, a new cover story, a new escape route. Immortality doesn't give her freedom. It gives her maintenance costs. Centuries pass, and people evolve. Cultures shift. Languages change. But she stays the same. A creature trying to fit into a world that moves too fast for her to keep up. She isn't timeless. She's outdated. Not a goddess of trickery. Just a tired creature doing everything she can not to be discovered by a society that is too connected, too curious, and too unforgiving. Every curse has an ending. But the Kumiho's ending is never peaceful, never soft, never kind. There is no happily ever after for a fox spirit born from tragedy. Only 3 possible outcomes, and all of them are bleak. The first and most common is annihilation. A Kumiho spends her entire life hiding, running, lying, fighting the hunger, battling hunters, dodging shamans, and sprinting away from spiritual predators, only to eventually slip up once. Maybe the illusion breaks. Maybe the hunger wins. Maybe someone notices the tails, and in a moment, the world, human or spiritual, closes in. She's cornered, exposed, stripped of all disguises. No matter how powerful she is, numbers overwhelm her. Arrows, sacred ropes, flames, blades, spells, until the creature that survived centuries falls like an animal caught in a trap. The second possible ending is madness. The curse lasts longer than the mind, and eventually, something inside breaks. Not with a scream, but quietly, a small piece of her humanity snapping under the weight of immortality. She stops fighting the hunger, stops pretending to be human, stops remembering the faces she loved. Her illusions become twisted. Her eyes lose their warmth. What remains is a creature made of instinct and sorrow, wandering the mountains like a forgotten nightmare. Some are hunted. Some simply fade away. Some live for centuries more. Not alive, not dead. Just empty. The third ending is the cruelest. The illusion of redemption. Legends say a Kumiho can become human if she lives 1,000 years without harming anyone, 1,000 years without hunger, without mistakes, without slipping, without giving in to the fox within. It sounds noble, hopeful, almost beautiful, but in reality, it's impossible. The curse feeds on her suffering. Her instincts work against her. Her redditors don't let her rest. Humans don't let her hide. The world forces her to fight just to survive. And every act of survival undoes a century of effort. Imagine craving freedom with your whole soul, fighting for it for 100 lifetimes, almost reaching it, only to lose everything the moment your claws come out too. Protect yourself. It's not a redemption arc. It's psychological torture disguised as a goal. In the end, the Kumiho's final fate carries the same message as our title. Being powerful doesn't save you sometimes. It damns you even more. Her strength makes her feared. Her beauty makes her hated. Her immortality makes her trapped. Her hunger makes her doomed. Whether she dies, loses her mind, or spends eternity chasing a miracle she can never reach, the ending is always the same. A creature who wanted to be human, condemned by a curse that never lets her stop being a monster. When you stack everything together, the hunger, the illusions, the hunters, the loneliness, the constant fear of being discovered, and a redemption path so cruel it might as well be a cosmic joke, you finally understand the truth. Being a Kumiho isn't a gift, it's a life sentence. Humans romanticize fox spirits as seductive mystical beings, with glowing eyes and 9 beautiful tails. But behind all that elegance is a creature drowning in a curse it never asked for, and can never escape. So the next time you think, wow, it would be amazing to be a 9-tailed fox, remember this video, and remind yourself that being the most magical creature in the room is just another way of saying, you're the most cursed one too. Because if there's one thing mythology keeps repeating, it's this. The more powerful the creature, the more miserable the price. And with that, we can safely say, another legendary life, completely destroyed, mission accomplished. Now, before you run off pretending you're a fox deity or something, do a good deed today. Leave a like or the next voice you hear in the woods might not be human. Inscreva-se no canal para não perder o próximo episódio da nossa coletânea de vidas arruinadas. Comente aí embaixo qual criatura você quer ver sofrendo no Próximo vídeo. Because trust me, there are plenty of monsters out there, living way worse lives than you.